Urgent Jokic to the Lakers? Stay until the end to find out everything, but first, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. It was a calm, sun-drenched afternoon off the coast of Saint-Tropez, the kind of day that usually stays away from the noise of basketball rumors and trade speculations. But that peace was soon stirred by whispers that could potentially reshape the future of the NBA. A single meeting, captured in a photo and shared online, ignited wild speculation across fanbases and front offices alike. Nikola Jokic, the three-time NBA MVP and cornerstone of the Denver Nuggets, may be contemplating a move to the Los Angeles Lakers, joining none other than LeBron James and Luca Donic to form a super team in the 2026-2027 season. The spark? An unexpected encounter aboard a luxurious yacht. Jokic's longtime agent, the influential Misko Raznatovic, was seen in the company of LeBron James and his business partner and agent, Maverick Carter, while vacationing in the French Riviera. What could have been dismissed as a casual social visit took on a different tone when Raznatovic posted a cryptic caption alongside their photo. Summer of 2025 is the perfect time to lay out big plans for fall 2026. The line wasn't overlooked. In the world of NBA business, few things are accidental, especially when they involve billion-dollar franchises and generational talent. The implication was clear to many. Something significant could be brewing, and Los Angeles might be preparing a move that would shift the balance of power in the league once again. The context only fuels the fire. LeBron James, who will be turning 41 during the 2025-26 season, has reportedly opted out of the final year of his guaranteed deal with the Lakers. By doing so, he frees up a substantial chunk of the team's salary cap. That financial flexibility could allow the Lakers to sign a marquee player on a maximum contract. Someone exactly like Nikola Jokic. The Lakers' front office, known for making bold plays in free agency, now has a chance to position itself for another blockbuster summer. Jokic's recent decision to decline a contract extension offer from the Nuggets has only intensified the rumors. Denver had put forward a staggering $212 million deal for 4 more years, an offer most players would rush to accept. But Jokic, uncharacteristically quiet about his future, turned it down without much public comment. That refusal could be read as a strategic move. Without a new extension, Jokic becomes significantly more mobile by the time the 2026 offseason rolls around. The Lakers, assuming they stay under the cap and manage their roster wisely, could swoop in and offer him a fresh start in Hollywood, and perhaps the chance to play alongside LeBron and Doncic in a dream trio that could dominate the league for years. Jokic has never been one for drama or the spotlight. His basketball brilliance has always seemed to outshine his interest in media attention or high-profile headlines. Yet, this subtle but loaded meeting with LeBron's camp suggests that the Serbian star might be open to a new chapter, one that goes beyond Denver's altitude and into the glitz and legacy of Los Angeles. Could Jokic be the next NBA icon to wear purple and gold? That question, once unthinkable, now feels more plausible than ever. The NBA is no stranger to back-channel discussions, carefully veiled meetings, and deals that begin long before they become official. For insiders, it's part of the rhythm of the league. The conversations that happen during the offseason often determine the champions of the future. What happened in Saint-Tropez might be the beginning of one of those moments. While fans marveled at the possibility of Jokic joining forces with LeBron and Doncic, executives across the league took note of something far more subtle: the quiet presence of Maverick Carter. LeBron's longtime friend and business partner rarely appears without purpose. When he's in the room, discussions typically shift from casual chatter to strategic planning. And if Misko Raznatovic was indeed speaking about the fall of 2026, then the Lakers might already be 2 steps ahead of their rivals. In NBA terms, 2026 is still far on the calendar. But building a championship team doesn't happen overnight, especially one involving 3 superstars. Contracts need to expire, salary caps must be managed, and personalities need to align. The Lakers have long been known for their patience when it comes to landing marquee players. Their recent handling of LeBron's contract situation proves it. By declining the final year of his guaranteed deal, LeBron not only freed up space for the franchise, he made a public statement: I'm invested in something bigger. That something bigger might just be Nikola Jokic. And there's another name that keeps surfacing in these discussions: Luca Donic. While still under contract with the Dallas Mavericks, Donic's growing frustration with the team's inability to build a true contender around him has sparked quiet speculation about his long-term future. His personal relationship with Jokic is no secret. The two share a strong Balkan bond, often seen joking and chatting in their native languages during All-Star weekends and international games. They've expressed admiration for each other's games and hinted at wanting to play together someday. Could that day come in Los Angeles? If so, the Lakers might be orchestrating one of the most ambitious recruiting projects in modern NBA history. The pieces don't all fit yet, but the outlines of the puzzle are becoming more visible. Back in Denver, the Nuggets front office isn't blind to the signals. Jokic's rejection of the $212 million extension wasn't merely a financial decision. It was a message, one that could be interpreted as dissatisfaction or simply the desire to keep options open. Jokic has given everything to Denver: an NBA championship, years of loyalty, and a playing style that transformed the team's identity. But athletes evolve. Priorities shift. And sometimes, even the most loyal players begin to imagine a different future. A future in which the stakes are higher, the lights are brighter, and the legacies are larger. Still, nothing is official. No contracts have been signed. No public declarations have been made. But the NBA doesn't always need paperwork to move the needle. Sometimes all it takes is a quiet meeting on a yacht, a cryptic caption on social media, and the unspoken understanding that the game behind the game has already begun. As the summer of 2025 rolls on, attention will remain fixed on every move Jokic, LeBron, and Luka make, not just on the court but in boardrooms, private conversations, and seemingly innocent vacations. In the modern NBA, power isn't just built through scoring titles and playoff runs. It's built through timing, alignment, and silence. And right now, all three seem to be pointing toward Los Angeles. In the front offices of the NBA, patience is not just a virtue, it's a weapon. While most fans and media react to the season at hand, the true architects of dynasties work years in advance. And few organizations are as adept at long-term planning as the Los Angeles Lakers. By the time the 2026-27 season arrives, the Lakers may already have built the framework for the next great era of basketball in California. All signs point to a strategy that has been quietly taking shape behind the scenes. A blueprint designed not just to attract talent, but to fundamentally reshape the power dynamics of the league. The Lakers are no strangers to star power. From Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, to LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the franchise's identity has always revolved around the ability to draw generational talent to the purple and gold. But this time the stakes are different. This time it's not just about winning titles. It's about building a legacy that transcends eras. Enter Nikola Jokic. The reigning genius of the game, Jokic is unlike any other big man in NBA history. His court vision rivals the best point guards. His basketball IQ is unmatched. And most of all, his game elevates everyone around him. He doesn't just play, he orchestrates. For a team like the Lakers, whose identity has historically depended on dominant individuals, Jokic represents an evolution. A player who could change the very way Los Angeles approaches team basketball. The financial path to signing him is already in motion. LeBron's contract restructuring was the first domino. By declining his guaranteed year and shifting to a short-term deal with player options, he gave the Lakers flexibility. Not just to chase Jokic, but to potentially clear space for another max-level player. The goal is not just to sign a superstar, it's to build a superstructure. And that brings Luca Donic back into the conversation. Donic's long-term commitment to Dallas has begun to show cracks. Reports of frustration have slowly surfaced. Missed opportunities in free agency, lack of consistent supporting pieces, playoff disappointments. While he's made no public demands, the NBA's recent history suggests that stars rarely make noise until a decision is already close. If the Lakers can offer him what the Mavericks have not, a reliable roster, veteran leadership, and a shot at history, the offer could become too tempting to ignore. And let's not forget the XFactor Legacy. LeBron James is not just thinking about championships anymore. He's thinking about influence, about the future of the league, about passing the torch to the right hands. A Lakers team led by Jokic and Donic would not only keep the franchise relevant after LeBron's eventual retirement, it would secure his influence in the years to come. By bringing these two European stars together in LA, LeBron helps shape the NBA's future even after he steps off the court. The Lakers brass, including general manager Rob Pelinka and ownership, are fully aware of what's at stake. They've already begun to lay the groundwork through subtle roster moves and salary management. They've also built a culture in which star players feel empowered, something crucial to attracting top-tier talent in today's league. But it's not just about money and contracts. It's about fit, personality, purpose. And in Jokic, Donic, and LeBron, there may be a perfect storm brewing, three players from different backgrounds with different styles, yet connected by a shared understanding of the game. For now, it's still speculation. But make no mistake, this isn't just fantasy talk from fans and media. The pieces are real. The timing aligns. And the Lakers, perhaps more than any other franchise, know how to turn rumors into reality. They're not just chasing another championship. They're building the next great chapter in NBA history. The whispers that began on the calm waters of Saint-Tropez have become tremors, and those tremors are being felt across every corner of the NBA. Executives, scouts, players, and even agents are now closely monitoring the situation unfolding around Nikola Jokic and the Los Angeles Lakers. It's no longer just a rumor. It's a possibility that could send shockwaves through the entire structure of the league. Every era in the NBA has been defined by dominant teams, dynasties built not just on talent but on timing, chemistry, and the boldness to challenge the status quo. The potential alliance of Jokic, LeBron James, and Luca Donic would mark the beginning of a new basketball empire, one that could reshape not only the Western Conference, but the league's global identity. Teams are already beginning to prepare for the possibility. Rival general managers have quietly adjusted their cap strategies, considering the need to build rosters capable of challenging such a powerhouse. The Lakers' rivals, particularly the Warriors, Suns, Clippers, and Nuggets, know that if this trio forms, the balance of power in the West may swing dramatically for years. And what about Denver? The Nuggets, a franchise that has spent the better part of a decade building around Jokic, are facing a potential identity crisis. Losing a player like Nikola isn't just about stats. It's about culture. It's about a philosophy of basketball that's centered around his unique talents. Jokic turned Denver into a contender not by fitting into a system, but by becoming the system. If he walks away, the entire blueprint collapses. Internally, the Nuggets are doing what they can. They've attempted to re-engage with Jokic's camp after the declined extension, floating the possibility of reworking the offer or reshaping the roster to his liking. But with no clear commitment from Jokic and the silence from his agent, Misko Raznatovic, Denver is beginning to realize that his departure may be inevitable. The timing of all this also aligns with one important detail. Jokic's contract is set to expire just as LeBron enters the twilight of his playing career, and just as Luca Donic may reach a personal crossroads in Dallas. The overlap is more than coincidental. To seasoned observers, it feels coordinated. What makes the scenario even more disruptive is the stylistic clash it would introduce into the NBA landscape. A team led by Jokic, Donic, and LeBron wouldn't dominate with sheer athleticism or speed. They'd dominate with intelligence, spacing, and ball movement. A return to a more cerebral, methodical style of play that contrasts sharply with the isolation-heavy, pace and space trends of recent years. Fans would be treated to a form of basketball that blends old-school fundamentals with new-school innovation. Three of the most gifted passers in the game, sharing the floor, thinking 2 steps ahead of their defenders. Every possession would be a masterclass in timing and vision. From a marketing perspective, the implications are just as seismic. The NBA's international appeal would soar. With Jokic from Serbia and Donic from Slovenia, joining forces with LeBron in the entertainment capital of the world, the global spotlight would intensify. TV ratings, merchandise, ticket sales, all would likely surge. International fans, particularly from Europe, would have a new reason to rally behind the Lakers, deepening the league's global footprint. But with great potential comes great resistance. Not everyone in the league would welcome this shift. Critics have already begun to voice concerns about super teams ruining parity, echoing the backlash seen during the formation of the Miami Heat's Big Three or the Kevin Durant-era Warriors. The league office itself, while publicly neutral, is certainly keeping a close eye on developments, knowing the competitive integrity of the league could face new scrutiny. Still, there's no rule against preparation. There's no penalty for vision. And the Lakers, quietly and efficiently, are building both. Behind every great team lies a convergence of personal stories, motivations that, while different, somehow align at exactly the right time. For Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Luca Donic, that convergence might come in the fall of 2026. What makes this scenario so compelling isn't just the basketball fit, it's the human one. Each of these superstars is walking a unique path. And each of them, in their own way, may be looking for something that only this union can offer. Nikola Jokic, the reluctant superstar. If there's one player who defies the modern definition of an NBA superstar, it's Nikola Jokic. He doesn't chase highlight reels or social media buzz. He avoids the spotlight and retreats to Serbia every off-season, where he spends more time with his horses than with cameras. But on the court, he is a savant, a player so skilled, so intelligent, that he changes the geometry of the game. For years, Jokic seemed content in Denver. He wasn't loud about winning championships or pressuring the front office. But recently his tone has shifted. Turning down a $212 million contract extension wasn't just a financial decision, it was a signal. Perhaps he's grown tired of carrying a franchise on his back. Perhaps he wants a new challenge. Or perhaps, for the first time, he wants to play in a city where basketball is part of a broader legacy. Los Angeles isn't just a market, it's a message. Playing there would mean stepping onto a global stage. And if Jokic can win in Denver, then win again in LA. With LeBron and Luka by his side, his legacy transforms. Not just as a franchise player, but as one of the all-time greats. LeBron James, the architect of legacy. At 41, LeBron James has little left to prove on the court. 4 NBA titles. 2 Olympic gold medals. Countless accolades. But his mind has long operated beyond the hardwood. LeBron isn't just building a career. He's building a legacy that touches media, business, activism, and basketball history. What motivates LeBron now isn't statistics or MVP votes. It's influence, mentorship, impact. He sees in Jokic and Donic 2 players capable of carrying the league into its next era, and perhaps more importantly, carrying forward the culture and values he spent 2 decades shaping. If Jokic arrives in 2026, it would be the ultimate passing of the torch. LeBron may no longer be the focal point, but his presence would still shape the team's identity. He could guide, advise, inspire. And if he adds one final championship alongside them, it cements a storybook ending to a legendary career. Luca Donic, a star seeking stability. Of the 3, Luka's path may be the most uncertain. Still in his mid-20s, Donic is entering the prime of his career. He's already made a name for himself as one of the most gifted scorers and playmakers in the league, often compared to legends before he's even turned 30. But there's been a growing tension in Dallas, a frustration that the Mavericks haven't given him a true championship-caliber roster. Year after year, Luka delivers jaw-dropping performances, only to see his team fall short. He's fiercely loyal to his teammates and his country, but even the most loyal stars eventually seek winning environments. If Dallas fails to take a major leap soon, Luka might start looking elsewhere. And what better place to land than in Los Angeles, alongside Jokic, a close friend and mentor figure, and under the wing of LeBron James. The trio wouldn't just fit stylistically. Their personalities, leadership styles, and basketball philosophies complement each other. Jokic's unselfishness, LeBron's control, Luka's improvisation. Together they could form a new model for superstar coexistence. One rooted not in ego but in harmony. A shared vision. More than just talent, the foundation for this super team rests on something rarer. Alignment. 3 men at different points in their careers, each driven by a deeper purpose. For Jokic, a legacy outside the mountains of Colorado. For LeBron, a lasting influence beyond retirement. For Luka, a home where his greatness can finally be rewarded with championships. It's not just about forming a super team. It's about creating something sustainable, timeless, balanced. A team that wins not just because it's loaded with stars, but because its stars understand each other both on and off the court. While the media buzzes with speculation and fans flood social media with dream lineups, the real work is happening in quiet offices and behind locked doors at the Lakers' training facility in El Segundo. Their whiteboards are covered in salary cap projections. Draft pick assets are charted across seasons. Names of potential trade pieces are being quietly evaluated. Because while dreams of Jokic, LeBron, and Luka together on the same roster may capture headlines, executing that vision is something else entirely. For Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka and the team's front office, this is the kind of opportunity that can define a legacy. It's one thing to bring in LeBron James in free agency, but building a path for 3 MVP caliber players to coexist financially and competitively in a salary-capped league? That requires precision, sacrifice, and perfect timing. The cap equation. The NBA's salary cap is both a challenge and a puzzle. In 2026, the cap is expected to rise, partially thanks to the league's growing international reach and new media deals. That timing could work in the Lakers' favor, but it still requires discipline. Even one wrong contract extension or an overpaid role player could disrupt the balance. LeBron has already done his part, opting out of the final guaranteed year of his deal to create flexibility. His current contract structure gives the Lakers maneuvering room heading into the critical 2025-26 offseason. The team has also been careful with its recent signings, avoiding long-term commitments to mid-tier players and instead targeting short-term, low-cost contributors who won't clog the books. The big move, though, is clearing enough space for 2 max slots, one for Jokic and one potentially for Luka. Doing that will require letting go of some fan favorites, leveraging sign-and-trade options, and possibly moving young talent for future draft capital to maintain long-term flexibility. It's high risk, but in Los Angeles the reward is worth it. Role players and sacrifice. Even if the stars align, literally, the rest of the roster will be just as important. History has shown that super teams without proper support often fall short. The Lakers know they'll need savvy veterans, capable three-point shooters, versatile defenders, and players willing to sacrifice touches for the greater good. There's already a short list of potential role players the team has quietly kept tabs on. Veterans who've expressed interest in playing with LeBron, or who've worked with Jokic or Luka internationally. Names like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Maxi Kleber, or even seasoned international free agents have surfaced in internal discussions. These aren't flashy additions, but they're the glue. Building chemistry won't be optional, it will be essential. The leverage of legacy. The Lakers have a unique advantage few teams possess, the weight of legacy. When they call, players listen. From Kareem to Magic, Shaq to Kobe, LeBron to potentially Jokic, wearing the purple and gold is more than just a job. It's a chance to enter history. That legacy is part of what Pelinka and owner Jeannie Buss are counting on. Jokic may be quiet and reserved, but he understands what it means to be remembered. Luka, too, has expressed admiration for basketball history, and both have spoken publicly about how much they value legacy over spotlight. The Lakers aren't just selling a contract. They're selling a chance to be part of something eternal. Behind-the-scenes negotiations. Though league rules prohibit tampering, NBA insiders know that groundwork for major moves is often laid well in advance. Conversations between agents, legal representatives, and unofficial intermediaries have become common. Misko Raznatovic, Jokic's powerful agent, is deeply respected in basketball circles. His presence in France with Maverick Carter wasn't accidental. He's a master at long-term positioning. If he's entertaining this scenario, it means serious exploration is underway, even if it's not yet formal. Maverick, on the other hand, plays a different role. He builds bridges, brands, trust. If he's involved, then LeBron's team isn't just thinking about basketball, They're thinking about ownership, production, marketing, and long-term player influence. For Luka, whose representation has remained relatively quiet throughout, this means observing closely. He may not say much publicly, but make no mistake, he sees everything. The mere possibility of Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Luca Donic wearing the same jersey has already begun to shift the landscape of basketball conversation. What started as a quiet summer encounter on a yacht has spiraled into a full-scale media storm, feeding a global hype machine that shows no signs of slowing. From late-night talk shows to European sports panels, basketball fans across continents are weighing in. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, every platform is filled with speculations, mock trades, digital jersey swaps, and dream lineup videos. Podcasts are dedicating entire episodes to the potential trio. Talk shows debate whether such a team could become the greatest of all time before a single dribble is taken. The media has entered full-throttle mode, and the NBA, whether it admits it or not, is riding the wave. ESPN, TNT, and the war of the mic. Mainstream sports networks are treating the possibility as more than just rumor, they're analyzing it as inevitability. ESPN's analysts have drawn up projected depth charts, debating who should be the fourth and fifth starters on this imagined Lakers juggernaut. TNT's panel, known for their mix of insight and entertainment, has turned the subject into a weekly talking point. Charles Barkley has joked that if Jokic joins LeBron and Luka, the rest of the league might as well go on vacation. Shaquille O'Neal, never one to shy away from bold takes, suggested the trio would go 82-0 if they wanted to. Even more grounded commentators like J.J. Redick have begun speaking seriously about how the Lakers' cap maneuvering could make the impossible real. It's not just talk. It's movement. A global frenzy. What makes this scenario even more electrifying is its global reach. Jokic and Donic are already international icons, having brought European flair and dominance into the modern NBA. If they were to unite in Los Angeles, the media capital of the world, the international market would erupt. In Serbia, sports media is cautiously optimistic, with headlines like, "Could the Joker bring his magic to Hollywood?" leading primetime shows. In Slovenia, fans are buzzing at the idea of Luka stepping into a bigger, more glamorous role alongside two of the game's legends. Even casual fans in countries like Greece, Spain, and Brazil are tuning into the saga, sensing that this move could mark a new chapter in global basketball. For the NBA, this is gold. An opportunity to further cement its presence as a truly international league, with its biggest stars speaking different languages, but playing the same game in harmony on the biggest stage. The Lakers fanbase reacts. Within the Lakers community, hope is turning into belief. The franchise's fans, perhaps the most widespread and passionate in the league, are already imagining what Crypto.com Arena, formerly Staples Center, would feel like on opening night in 2026. Custom fan-made graphics of Jokic in Lakers gold flood Reddit and Instagram. Forums buzz with theories about jersey numbers, coaching rotations, and championship parades. For a team whose identity is rooted in stardom, the idea of adding two international icons to LeBron's final act feels like destiny. Season ticket interest is already climbing, and the team hasn't even made a move. Doubts and pushback. Of course, not everyone is celebrating. Critics have emerged, warning that yet another super team could further erode league parity. Pundits argue that small market teams will stand no chance if the Lakers pull off this move. The echoes of the Kevin Durant to Golden State backlash are beginning to stir again. Even some former players have raised concerns. Reggie Miller questioned whether such a team would leave enough room for organic competition. Tracy McGrady expressed worries about younger players getting buried in a superstar-heavy environment. Yet others, particularly former champions, see it differently. "If you can make it work, you make it work," said Dwayne Wade in an interview. This is the NBA. Greatness wants to play with greatness. The pressure of potential. With all this noise comes a new kind of pressure, one that now sits squarely on the shoulders of everyone involved. For Jokic, Donic, and LeBron, the expectations are no longer theoretical. Even if they never officially unite, their names will now be tied to the biggest what if in modern basketball history. If they do unite, Every dribble, pass, and playoff run will be examined under a microscope. That's the burden of legends. That's the price of ambition. And that's the cost of hype in a league that never sleeps. In a league defined by power shifts, no move happens in a vacuum. If Jokic, LeBron, and Donic converge in Los Angeles, the aftershocks will be felt in every front office across the NBA. This wouldn't just be a new super team, it would be the ignition of a new arms race. One that would force rival franchises to rethink their rosters, their timelines, and even their identities. The NBA has always evolved in response to greatness. The rise of the Big Three in Boston led Miami to follow suit. Golden State's dynasty forced the league to prioritize spacing and shooting. If Los Angeles becomes home to a three-headed basketball organism built on vision, creativity, and international synergy, the rest of the league will not sit still. Denver Nuggets, regroup or rebuild. The Denver Nuggets would be the first franchise forced to make a seismic pivot. Jokic's potential departure doesn't just leave a hole, it obliterates the foundation. For nearly a decade, the Nuggets built a system around Jokic's unique style. Slow tempo, heavy ball movement, and high IQ playmaking from the center position. Without him, the entire ecosystem changes. Jamal Murray becomes a different player. The supporting cast, built to complement Jokic, would no longer make sense. Denver's front office would face a hard question. Do they try to stay competitive quickly, or tear it down and start over? Rumors have already circulated that if Jokic leaves, the team might explore trading other core players and loading up on draft picks to begin a fresh rebuild. It's a painful prospect. But sometimes the best way to recover from the loss of a star is to embrace the future completely. Dallas Mavericks, the Luka void. For Dallas, Luka's departure would be a blow of equal magnitude. He has been their golden ticket, their post-Nowitzki savior. Losing him, especially to the Lakers, would not only sting competitively but symbolically. It would reinforce the perception that the Mavericks failed to build a contender around him, a shadow that might linger for years. Owner Mark Cuban has long been aggressive in keeping Luka happy. But if this move becomes reality, it may mark the end of his era of bold promises. Dallas would face an uncomfortable rebuild or perhaps a desperate trade for a new face of the franchise, maybe via the draft or a risky blockbuster move to recapture momentum. Golden State, Phoenix, Milwaukee, Boston. Adapt or be outpaced. Other contenders would be forced to adapt quickly. The Warriors, already aging, would need to accelerate a youth movement or find a way to acquire a countering superstar. Phoenix, with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, would have to reinforce its defense and depth, likely adding size and intelligence to withstand the Jokic-Luka passing storm. Eastern powerhouses like Milwaukee and Boston would feel the pressure too. While geographic distance offers some cushion, a Lakers super team would distort the league's balance, pushing all contenders to be near perfect if they hope to reach and survive the finals. Teams like Miami, Philadelphia, and Cleveland would likely revisit their current timelines, asking if their stars are enough, or if it's time to make bold moves. A new wave of alliances. Just as the Lakers may be forming a trio of European and American legends, other teams could begin forming cross-continental supergroups of their own. Agents, general managers, and players are watching closely. The NBA is a copycat league, and wherever dominance appears, imitation follows. Younger stars like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, and Victor Wembanyama may begin eyeing long-term pairings with international counterparts. The rise of global talent has created new cultural bonds between players, bonds that could translate into new super teams rooted in friendship, national pride, or mutual respect. Expect more off-court conversations to begin happening at All-Star weekends, international tournaments, and even during Olympic camps. The message is clear. Alignment isn't only built in boardrooms, it's born in friendships and shared ambitions. Pressure on the league office. All of this would place Adam Silver and the NBA's leadership in a complicated position. On one hand, a Lakers super team would mean massive global attention, surging ratings, and commercial gold. On the other, it would reignite debates about parity and fairness, especially among smaller market franchises. Some owners would call for salary cap revisions or additional protections for teams losing superstars. Others might push for harsher penalties on soft tampering, or even propose international draft adjustments to rebalance the power pool. But the league has always walked the line between competition and spectacle. And in a world where three global icons unite under one banner, spectacle usually wins. At first glance, the union of Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Luca Donic might seem like the latest iteration of the NBA's superstar era. Just another super team formed to chase rings. But beneath the surface, this potential convergence carries significance that goes far beyond basketball. It would be a cultural moment, a global signal, and a powerful reminder of how sports shape, and are shaped by, the world around them. Because if this happens, it's not just about winning championships. It's about legacy, globalization, and redefining what the NBA is. The globalization of greatness. Over the last 2 decades, the NBA has evolved from an American league with international players to a truly international league. And in many ways, Jokic and Donic are the embodiment of that shift. They didn't just make it in the NBA, they redefined how the game is played at the highest level. Jokic has proven that a center can control a game through pure intellect and vision. Donic has shown that flair, patience, and feel can dominate athleticism. Together, they represent the rise of a global style of play, less isolation, more collaboration, less brute force, more calculated mastery. Joining LeBron James, the greatest American player of his era, in Los Angeles, they wouldn't just form a team. They would form a symbol. A fusion of continents. A declaration that greatness is borderless. Hollywood and the power of storytelling. With Los Angeles as the backdrop, the story writes itself. Jokic, the humble horse lover from Somber. Luka, the streetball phenom turned EuroLeague champion from Ljubljana. And LeBron, the American icon who rose from Akron to become a global force on and off the court. The film rights practically sell themselves. And this isn't an exaggeration. LeBron's Spring Hill company has already cemented itself as a major content powerhouse. Luka and Jokic, both previously reserved off the court, would likely find new storytelling opportunities in LA, documentaries, campaigns, even global brand partnerships. This wouldn't just shift basketball. It would shift culture. A legacy play for LeBron. For LeBron, this would be more than a final attempt at a ring. It would be his grandest act of leadership. Not just guiding a team to success, but ushering in the next global era of the sport. LeBron's influence has always extended past the court. Through this move, he'd set a precedent, showing that today's stars can influence the league's structure, economics, and future long after their primes. In retirement, LeBron has made it no secret that he intends to pursue ownership. Helping build the next great dynasty in LA would be a powerful final chapter before stepping fully into that role. A team built with his input, his strategy, and his chosen successors. The message would be clear. LeBron doesn't just play the game, he designs it. Commercial domination. From a business perspective, a Lakers trio of Jokic, LeBron, and Donic would become the most marketable team in sports. Not just the NBA, sports period. The endorsements. The merchandise, the digital content, the global partnerships. From New York to Shanghai, Sao Paulo to Istanbul, the Lakers brand would become a cultural machine. Brands like Nike, Gatorade, Beats, and even international entities like Red Bull or Rakuten would be lining up to tie themselves to this juggernaut. Jersey sales would spike. Game broadcasts would shatter viewership records. International ticket tours and preseason events in Europe would become must-watch events. For the NBA, it would be the kind of commercial moment they haven't seen since the early 90s, a true boom driven by both performance and personality. Inspiration to the next generation. Beyond money and trophies, there's something else that makes this idea so powerful. Its inspirational value. To young athletes in Serbia, Slovenia, or even Africa and Asia, seeing 2 European players lead the most iconic team in NBA history could be transformative. It's no longer just about making it to the league. It's about leading it, dominating it, and doing it your way. That message transcends basketball. It becomes a story of identity, of empowerment, and of dreams that don't have to begin in America to end in greatness. As the 2026 off-season creeps closer, the magnitude of what's at stake continues to grow. The plan that began with a yacht meeting in Saint-Tropez may be setting the stage for one of the most transformative chapters in sports history. Not just a team. A turning point. Every great story deserves a climax. For the saga of Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Luca Donic, that climax may come in the fall of 2026, or perhaps in the off-season leading up to it. As whispers turn to decisions, and speculation inches toward reality, the world watches with bated breath. But no matter the outcome, this journey reveals something fundamental about sports, about ambition, collaboration, and the constant evolution of greatness. The choice. At its core, this story is about choices. Jokic, after years of loyalty to Denver, faces the biggest decision of his career: to remain the heart of a rising franchise, or to embrace the uncertainty and challenge of a new home alongside the greatest players of his generation. LeBron, ever the strategist, must balance his own legacy with the evolving landscape of the league, knowing that his final chapters could define not just championships, but the future of basketball leadership. Luka, the youngest and most enigmatic, holds the key to the Lakers' vision. His willingness to step into a new role, to share the spotlight or command it, will shape the team's chemistry and the league's balance. Challenges ahead. Even with talent like theirs, this experiment will not be without obstacles. Chemistry is fragile. Injuries unpredictable. Expectations crushing. Media pressure relentless. Will the three superstars be able to share the ball and the spotlight? Can coaches and role players adapt quickly enough to a new system? Will the Lakers management continue to make savvy decisions in personnel and culture? Only time will tell. A legacy in the making. Yet, if they succeed, the impact would be monumental. This would be more than a championship chase. It would be the creation of a new dynasty, a blending of eras and continents, and a beacon for future generations. Basketball would not just be a game played on hardwood floors. It would be a story of global unity, strategic brilliance, and human ambition. The world watches. As seasons turn and contracts expire, the eyes of millions, from Los Angeles to Ljubljana, from Denver to Akron, will stay glued to the unfolding saga. Every pass, every dunk, every moment together will be examined, celebrated, and remembered. Because sometimes sports aren't just about competition. They're about moments that define generations. Moments that inspire millions. Moments that change the game forever.